Okay, being the third speaker here who's going to tell you something about CPQ, there will be a lot of repeats, but maybe then the message is even better understood. Because I think in both discussions, from the one from Quotes and the one from Configure One, there was a message as well to the people from Verge, and I have a similar message, but from a different angle, maybe. I want to show you something about Qmaze, the CPQ environment we have created, and yeah, how we integrate this with Verge. We actually have been working on a showcase which is finalized enough to show you. It's not, yeah, there is some things I would like to improve, but you know, we'll get later on to that. But enough to, if it goes to the next slide. Oh, I want to do this. Okay. It's just frozen. Okay, what I'd like to tell you, a little bit of the background about Qmaze, but before I'd like to spend some time, what is actually a configurator? Our history in life, with 3D, we've been struggling with 3D for the last, I think it was something like 6-7 years already. What do we actually want? What's the goal in life? The result, I'd like to actually demonstrate with the showcase we've made, also together with the people from CPQ Factory. And yeah, I hope there is some good questions, so we can improve. A small introduction. Yeah, my name is Hans de Kok. I'm Dutch, half an hour from here. My background is actually in logistics, so I'm not an IT nerd, and I'm definitely not a CAD guru or a Blender artist, etc. My background is in logistics, and in the 90s, I've been dealing a lot with ERP systems where we had a heavy configurator inside the ERP system, you know, making complex rules. It wasn't sexy, it was green screens, not visible for the end customer, it was just visible for the people inside the company making complex bill of materials based on hundreds of features and options and variables, etc. So that is a good background, but later on when browsers appeared, you want something like that in a browser. And that is actually what we made with the product Qmaze. Now, what is actually configurator? I see a lot of messages on, let's say, the Verge forum, but also in the Blender world. Yeah, I've made a configurator, this and that. And what it does actually, it shows a visualization of a product you can play around with, you can fiddle with it, you can change colors, you can whatever, look at it. If you're lucky, it's 3D and you can turn it around, etc. Now, in my opinion, that is just a little part of the story. As you see here, a nice iceberg. The actual real world is actually, there's way more underneath there. And this is actually a similar list. Also, we've seen already from the people from Configure One and from Quotes, because what a configurator actually does is it actually calculates, like the word CPQ says, it calculates a correct price. It generates something like a sales order for my back office, for the people in the background in ERP. It will generate a bill of material. It will generate a routing, like production documents, like specifications, could be a fact sheet, whatever. And all these choices are saved in the background. And you can open it again and reopen it. And that sounds quite easy because you would, as a programmer, just save some, whatever, JSON file in background. But there is a whole world of complexity behind that. Because if you do that next month, and meanwhile somebody changed something on the specs, so what do you open? The old specification or the new specification? The old price or the new price, etc. Those are questions which are really complex and which gave me a lot of headaches and the people using it as well. It also generates a document, like a quote, and PDF, can be Word, etc. And it does a lot of calculations. You cannot have that option together with that option. Or if you do these things together, they cannot be done together, etc. So those are actually the functionalities of a configurator, which I think you cannot just do with Blender or Verge. But, of course, we want that visualization, and we want that together. We want that in one environment, and we want to make that beautiful configuration also, yeah, sexy, just like Bas from Code said. So that is actually was our goal as well. So actually back in 2012, we actually made the first version of Qmaze, and it started as something in the browser that was already high-end, high fashion, but it didn't have 3D. And a few years later, we found out, okay, we actually want to visualize that product. We want to not just do it 2D, we want to have it like in 3D. And we started experimenting with 3D, and I'll get back later on with a list of all the experiments we've done, which is quite a bit of frustration, but we learned a lot during that lesson. No, the last couple of years, we actually migrated our complete system to be web-based. Also, the back office is now web-based, and everything is quite easy to customize. I'll like to show you some of it, but I don't want it to be a sales pitch for our product. But if you're curious, I would like to show it. Now, with Verge coming along, the strange thing is we don't use much of Verge. To be honest, and Yuri's going to be mad at me, but I don't understand the puzzles. Or maybe I'm too stubborn to really dig into it, but we don't even need the puzzles. The nice thing with Verge is that it gives me the ability to go from one click inside Blender to the thing I would like to see, the visualization. The sneak preview is, for me, hey, this is how it will come out. And when we export the results and import it into Qmaze, it comes out like that. And that seems like a small thing maybe for you, technically, but that is really important for us. Because before, we really had to struggle to get that model outside of my 3D thing and have it in the right format, put it in the right place, get the textures in. I don't know. I don't even know what we did, but sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it cost us a lot of time, which we don't, we reduce a lot of time right now. Now, this is sort of a list of things we've been through. We started with X3D. I don't know if any one of you knows that platform. It was some JavaScript things you could 3D with. Martin was already there, actually. We worked together on getting that. And it took days to get something on the screen to get it in 3D. Then we figured out, hey, there is something called Unity. And we loved it. Actually, I still love it. The bad thing was that all of a sudden, somebody in Google or Firefox decided this is not safe. Let's ban all the plugins. And we were back to zero. And I see some faces nodding. Yeah, we all had that shitty experience. Of course, Unity came with a WebGL version, but that crashed even before it started. I have no clue how it's working right now, but I sort of gave up on that because it's, the idea was nice, but just like Flash, you have your Flash experience. Unity had the same ban from plugins. Then we moved to Blend for Web. I think technically quite nice project. Okay, but there it stopped. We went to Sketchfab. I don't know, you guys know Sketchfab? Yeah. It's nice. It was very easy, but it's not so powerful. We cannot control the way we want to control our environment. We can set visualizations, we can set textures, but that's about it. I cannot merge objects, etc., the way we want to do. So we're very happy actually that Verge is sort of the best of both worlds, combining all that effort into one environment. And yeah, we have been working the last couple of months to build our own tools around it, to integrate it in a nice way. So what do we actually want? Yeah, I mean, most of it is said here. We want something which is easy. We want something which is powerful, where I can sort of merge objects into one thing. It must be flexible. It must be fast, of course, and it should look very good. Now, the stunning graphics, I mean, it's probably I'm not saying my team, but we're not there yet. We cannot build something like that beautiful scooter yet, but maybe one day we'll get there. Performance, yeah, I mean, everybody wants performance, and of course stability and support. And also the last thing, and I know on the forum of Verge, I mean, there is a lot of people asking questions, and it's always amazing how fast we get an answer, which I'd really, maybe an applause for Yuri and his team about that. That is not the standard in the industry, actually. Most of the time you have to wait, yeah. Okay, one thing which we are struggling with, and actually making the presentation helped me to understand this process a little bit more, because I come from a background where it's quite easy. We make an option list, we define some rules and specifications in a product, and we have a Qmaze model, we have a configurator. That was history. That was the way it worked in 2D or with the green screens. And we can still do that. We still have customers doing that. But making a nice 3D website which has a configurator, which is used by a lot of customers, used by the end users, requires a little bit more. There's actually a lot of skills involved. There is the web design part, where somebody makes a nice design, and we have to make that design into a HTML or whatever you call it. And we actually have our tools in Qmaze to do that. And when we're ready with that, we have to integrate the 3D part there, yeah, which is a complete part in HTML. But before you have that 3D environment, we have this third layer, which is done by other people, the Blender artists like you are here. We need like 3D designs coming from either Blender or 3ds. We have to find all the materials, create them, etc., and hook it up into one model. Animations, yeah, it's here. We don't know how to do that yet, but we'll figure that out. And it all comes together in one end product. Now, what I would like to do is actually, I'd like to smoothen out this process, make this predictable, make this fast, repeatable, without making a boring end product. So we still need the flexibility to make it a unique environment every time you make a configurator. Now our experience is here. Now we'll try to move to the whole place, of course, by using suppliers, the Blender artists, etc., all the skills we need to do that. So this is a big challenge, which we actually experimented in our in the demo I would like to show, which is not on the PowerPoint, of course. I have to. I have to need my glasses for that. What we are actually targeting right now is customers who are in, let's say, the boat and yachting industry, and which is very ambitious because they will be only happy when it's really realistic, when it's really big, powerful, etc. So, but you know, you better set the standards high enough, otherwise it gets boring. So we actually made a configurator for that. You recognize that logo, I guess. Is there any internet here? Yeah. It's slow. that is already actually one topic, that this boat is quite big. And yeah, we actually took it and we just transferred it into the model. And it may need some optimization, yeah. But I hope we can get away with that. And we still have to add some detail here as well, so it might only get bigger. But I've had a very good presentation today from your colleague. Oh, we're there. And when it gets to 100%, it's not finished. That would be cool. Yeah. Okay, we got some boat here. Let's see. So it's just quite a big. It's a big. It's actually a Rev 63 foot, so it's a big, huge boat. So it's not so strange that it loads quite lazy. And what you actually see is actually that we created that this model is actually a Blender model. It's actually sort of improved by the guys from CPQ Factory, and we use that. And we you see actually the Qmaze interface on your right here. Now I may have to show you a little bit about that, but we have like a lot of variables in here which we can scroll through the question list, etc. About, okay, these are the objects. We also made like annotations in Blender, and the annotations, if you click on them, for example, it goes to that specific option. So it's really integrated with the back end of Qmaze, and it doesn't make a difference whether I change it here or whether I change it in the image. I can do that wherever I want. And you can go back and forth in the menu. It doesn't really matter because it's running all the questions and etc. as you go. And yeah, we didn't build much logic yet in these questions. Like, for example, if I want to have like some objects, you cannot have those colors together, but we will add that. As you configure it, also real time, this price is calculated, saying, okay, these are the options, etc., which you have an extra price, etc., and it will update this automatically. It's actually not running in the front. This is actually going back to the back end, calculating the price it needs to have using the specific currency or customer, of course, because we don't want to have that in the front. The front is just doing the front. We also try to work with, a boat is normally not on in the air, floating. So we try to add water, which was which is still a struggle. And we made that optional. The water itself looks pretty cool, I think, and we can rotate that thing around. However, we had some issues with combining the annotations with water. So yeah, when you want water, you can't have annotations right now. But and the boat, yeah, okay. We can even set the time. I think. What time do you want it to be? You want a daylight or make that cool by night? Yeah. Yeah. Feel free to play with it whenever you want. And it changes. This definitely also needs some animations. Like in practice, you can open the back of the boat, etc., which would be. I mean, I'm not saying simple. For me, it wouldn't be simple, but a lot of people would probably be able to do that, and we'll figure out how to do that. But I think this is for us a very interesting market because these boat companies, they don't have this, and every car manufacturer has one right now, and it's just a matter of time before they realize they need things like this as well. That was actually my presentation. I hope you have some questions. Questions? No, we actually do every. I mean, the configurator doesn't know anything about boats. It's not the team who knows anything about boats. It's the big problem is we do everything, but when I show a boat to a company that sells jewelry, they don't understand it. So the problem is I need to focus on one specific product to sell it. But yeah, we have done configurators for shoes. We have done configurators for jewelry. Machines, trailers, pools. That was actually our first customer. I mean, yeah, we can do everything, but the customer doesn't realize this. I mean, even if I go to a company who sells sailboats, they would say, yeah, but this is a yacht, this is not a sailboat. Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody? Okay, thank you very much. So